In a few, let me just kickstart the live on YouTube and then we'll begin. All right, so I think it should be on YouTube now. In a few, let me just, so it's on YouTube. Anyways, folks, so let's go. Anybody goes to this school? I'm not sure you have seen this school. Let me show the school. Anybody goes to this school on the live? If you go to this school, drop it in the chat. This is not my old school, by the way. I got this short from the school, so. Anyway, so let's go. So the question is, so the question is, so are you going moderation? Nah, man. We doing maths, beating the maths on moderation. So the question says, item 51 refers to the following. Those of you that now join, we've been doing a series of questions. If you have been following, you know that I've been doing the popular questions that would normally pop up. So anyways, so this one refers, item 51, 50 to 51 refers to the following graph of a function. Oh, let me go to YouTube. Let me go repeat the comments on YouTube in case anybody's there. Hey, YouTube, what's up? Anyways, the values of x for which y is equal to 4x minus x squared in this x, y equals 0 are. So y equals 0. So here we have all the values of y. A y equals 0 would be right here. So the values of x for which y is equal to 0, we just got to see all the values in which the point crosses the x-axis, which is the line y equals 0. So the values there would be, we see simply 0, x equals 0, and x equals 4. This is simply A. So the next one, the coordinates of the turning point of y equals 4x minus x squared are. So we know for the turning point of this graph, that is kind of the same as the maximum point on the graph. So the maximum point would be at the turning point as well, which would be right here. So the coordinates of that would be, we go 2 across, 4 up, 2, 4. So the coordinates for the turning point would be 2, 4, which is D. What's up, YouTube? Yeah, share the live on YouTube as well. Drop your answers in the comments on YouTube. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tag a friend, share it to a friend, share it to your WhatsApp group. We got to beat this paper one. Don't take it for granted. A lot of people are taking the paper one for granted. Anyways, so the next one. Similar question again, different year, similar question. It says, item 50 refers to the following graph of the quadratic function. So this time, they're asking us for the maximum point of y is equal to 4x minus x squared. So the maximum point, which will be the same as the turning point, as I said just now. So the maximum point would be the highest point on the graph, which would be right here as well. Should be right here. So we see this is 2 across, 4 up. So 2, 4 is the maximum point, which is same D. So as you can see, the turning point and the maximum point would be the same thing, eh? So the next one, the coordinates. Same the question? All right, so let me skip this one. So the coordinates for the maximum point, we know that is 2, 4, which is A. So this one. The equation of the axis of symmetry of the quadratic function is, so they want the axis of symmetry now. So the axis of symmetry would go straight through the turning point, a line going straight through the turning point, or a line going straight through the middle of the graph, which is straight through here. So they want the equation of this line. That is what they're asking us for, the axis of symmetry, which is simply, this is x is equal to 2 here. So the equation is simply x is equal to 2. So let's see which one has that A. X is equal to 2. All right, we curling the maths on TikTok. Nice to see it. YouTube hopping, yeah, hopping on the answer, hopping on the chat. All right, let's carry on now. This one here. What is the gradient of the line 2y is equal to negative 3x minus 8? What is the gradient there? All right, see some people curling this thing, man. All right, we ready? Which website you on TikTok or YouTube? Anyways. Great, good. So some people would run and go and put 3, but remember it has to be in the form y equal mx plus c. Y has to be by itself. See some people sending a. So y has to be by itself, so we got to take over this 2. So this 2 is multiplying. When you take it over, it will divide everything. So we'll have y is equal to negative 3x minus 8 all divided by 2. Now this would be the same as y is equal to negative 3x over 2 and minus 8 over 2. So the gradient would be the number in front of the x term, number in front of x. So negative 3 over 2, which is b. So just be careful and don't go and put a. Remember, it has to be in this form. Y has to be by itself. So very similar question, but in this case, they're asking us for the y-intercept. By the way, these are different years in which CXC is asking a similar question, different years. So they brought back the same function, but in this case, they're asking for the y-intercept. So we know the y-intercept would be the c value, but once again, we have 2y is equal to negative 3x minus 8. So we take over the 2 again. So we'll have y is equal to negative 3x over 2 minus 8 over 2. So the y-intercept would be the number by itself. So negative 8 divided by 2 would be 4. So the y-intercept would be negative 4. So don't be carried away and put 4, but they didn't put 4 as an option though, so be good. So D, negative 4. All right, so careful with this one. Make sure it's in the general form, y equal mx plus c. Y has to be by itself. All right, nothing should be attached to the y, so be on the lookout for that. So let me go botheration. Not really a big fan of partying, right? You won't really find me at a party. I mean, if some people like the party, but you'll more find me at cricket, CPL, and these kind of things, right? You won't really find me at a party. Only party I may go to is if probably Lil Wayne. If Lil Wayne comes to Guyana, then you would probably see me at a party. Other than that, nah, not really my kind of thing, eh? Uh, anyways, so a line L is perpendicular to the line y equal 3 over 7x minus 9. They want to know what is the gradient of the line L. So the line is perpendicular to this. So because it's perpendicular to this, we know it will be the negative reciprocal. So for the reciprocal, we just flip it. So that instead of 3 over 7, it will become 7 over 3. And the negative reciprocal of this, we change the sign. So this will be negative 7 over 3, which is A, right? Perpendicular, negative reciprocal. That would be the relationship to the gradient. So yeah, we currently on YouTube and TikTok, right? On YouTube and TikTok. And I stream, I'm streaming, I will normally stream both places. And in case anybody wants to go and look back at it. Anyway, so that was that. So next one, you see, this is a different year in which you're asking a similar question. So we have the line L is parallel to this line now. So we know for parallel lines, the gradients will be the same. All right. For parallel lines, the gradients will be the same. So let me just write this. So this is 3x minus 7y minus 9 is equal to 0. Somebody saying, what says YouTube channel? My YouTube channel is Top Shutter Maths King at YouTube. My YouTube channel is my name, eh? Anyways, so we know we got to write it in the form y equal mx plus c. So this is not in that form. So we gotta write it in that form, eh? So we gotta take over everything except the y. So let me carry over this first of all. So we'll have negative 7y minus 9 is equal to, when we take this over, to become minus 3x. And then when I take over the 9, the minus 9 will become plus 9. So I'll have negative 7y is equal to negative 3x plus 9. And then last but not least, we take over the negative 7. So the negative 7 is multiplying the y. And we take it over to divide, obviously. So we'll have y is equal to negative 3x plus 9, all divided by negative 7. So when I have this all divided by negative 7, I can just put this negative 7 over everything. So I'll have y is equal to negative 3x over negative 7 plus 9 over negative 7. So the two negatives will cancel out. So another line that is parallel to this line, the gradient will be simply 3 over 7. All right, since the gradients will be the same, and this is the gradient of that line, 3 over 7, which is C. All right. Cool, calm, nice and easy. So you see, very similar question, but different thing they asked for a very similar question. So when we say the questions repeat, you got to be careful when we talk about repeat, right? They repeat, but it's slightly different. So just be on the lookout for that. Make sure you write it in the general form. Let me see what else. Good. So let's carry on. So item for the sum refers to the following arrow diagram. So we have the arrow diagram. X is going to Y. So the arrow diagram above describes the relation. So let's see. The first one, let's examine the first one. Y is less than X. So Y is X and less than X. So Y here. So let's see if that is true. Y is less than X. You got the values here. So let's see. Yeah. I don't think let's examine the other one. X is a factor of Y. X is a factor of Y. Let's see. So 2 is a factor of 8. That is true. 2 is also a factor of 10. So X is less than Y. So if X is less than Y, the thing is 8 is indeed less than 2 and 3. 2 and 4, but 8 is also less than 3. And 3 is not going to 8. So we can't use that one. So that's why we can't. That is why this one can't work. So X is a factor of Y. So let's see. 2 is a factor of 8. Indeed. 4 is also a factor of 8. So that is true. 9, 3 is a factor of 9. That is true. 2 is a factor of 10 as well. So this looks like the answer. Examine the other one. Y is a factor of X. So Y is a factor of X. So 8 is not a factor of 2. So that can't work. X is a multiple of Y. X is a multiple of Y. So the multiples of Y would be, for example, 8 would be 8, 16, and so on. So this can't work. So the answer here is simply B. All right. B is the answer. So, yeah. How are we looking, chat? How are we looking? Good. Let me share the live, right? Share the live. Might do one more for the road. All right. Says the next one. Item 51. So this is a different year in which they brought back a similar question as well. So item 51 refers to the following arrow diagram, which shows a function of f. So which of the following best, they put best in all caps, describes the function. So let's see. We got a function here, y. So let's see. X plus y is equal to 3. So let me see. 2 plus 5 is not equal to 3. So nah, that can't work. So let's see, y is equal to x plus 3. So let's see if all of these here will make that be true. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. That's correct. 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. That's correct. 8 plus 3 is equal to 11. That's correct. 11 plus 3 is equal to 14. So that is correct. Let me check out the others just in case. X is equal to y plus 3. So let's see, 2. 5 plus 3 is not 2. So nah, that can't work. Let's see the last one. 2x plus 1. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. So 2 times 2 plus 1 is indeed 5. So 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1. So nah, that can't work. So the answer here is B. By the way, don't want to waste time. I'm just going through these here because we're examining all the options and I want to show you how to get these answers. But in the exam, you don't want to waste the time that I'm wasting there. You get the answer, move on. I don't bubble at all. You got 60 minutes to answer. Actually, no, you got how long is the exam? Hour and a half, which is like 90 minutes to answer 60 questions. A minute and a half per question. Anyways, our next question on functions. Item 46 refers to the following mapping diagram. The relationship that best describes the mapping in the diagram is. So we got 1-to-1, 1-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many. So for a 1-to-1 relationship, one element from here maps onto only one element. So 1-to-1. So let's see. 1 is going to here, but this one is also going to here. So nah, that can't work as a 1-to-1. So let's see, 1-to-many. So for 1-to-many, 1, as the name itself says, 1 is going to many. So we don't see at least 1 got to be a 1-to-many. So we see all these things here. They're all mapping onto 1. So it's not a 1-to-many. So let's try a many-to-one. Many-to-one means, as the name says, many going to 1. So we see this here goes to this, and also this goes to that as well. So, and then we got this here and this here, many going to 1 as well. So it is a many-to-one. So for it to be a many-to-many, it has to have a combination of 1-to-many and many-to-one. As long as you got a combination of 1-to-many, many-to-one, then it's when it is a many-to-many. But for this one, it's simply C. Many going to 1. The answer is in the name. The answer to the question is in its name. Many going to 1. So this one, beautiful question. Item 46 and 47 refer to the following graph of a straight line AB. So the point where the line AB crosses the horizontal axis is AB crosses the horizontal. Horizontal, primary school. Horizontal means straight across. The horizon. Think about the sunset. So the part that crosses the horizontal axis, the point, be this point here. All right. This point here would be 3 across, 0 up. 3, 0, which is 3, 0, not 0, 3. A, right? 3, 0, not you see how we lose a mark? Some people, a lot of persons are saying you go across and then up, right? You go across and then up. Not up and then across. So it's 3 across, 0 up. So A is the answer. Careful. You see how we lose the easy marks? So it's X, X, Y across the x-axis, and then Y. Some people go and put B. Some people go and put B. And then come on the exam saying, hey, so the test was easy. Test was food. And then they left the exam putting B. All right, careful. Careful, careful. Anyways, next one, The straight line AB cuts the y-axis at, so in this case, they want to know where it cuts the y-axis. So this is the y-axis. So it cuts the y-axis at this point right here. So we see the coordinates at that point. We go 0 across and then -2 down. All right, so 0, -2, which is D. All right, D as in dog. How you looking YouTube? How you looking TikTok? YouTube quiet, TikTok is loud. Nice. Um, Somebody said they're looking thin. Nah, man. Anybody goes to this school? Let me show. I asked earlier. Anybody on TikTok? Y'all going to this? Y'all would go to this school? Anybody on the live goes to that school? So item 44 refers to the following two-way table, which shows the ways in which 200 students in a group. Right, I'm reading the chat and reading the question. I nobody. Oh, okay. Yeah, which shows the way in which 200 students in a group are transported to school on a particular day. All right, so this is a two-way table, and you gotta be careful when you're reading this table. So it says a student, very important. A student, meaning it could be anybody from here, is picked at random from the group. What is the probability that the student is a male who traveled to school by taxi? So you want to know what is a male and travel to school in a taxi. So male, all the males would be across here. So male travel to school by taxi. So 50 males travel to school at taxi. So it's 50 over, and this is the important number that you got to put it over. It said a student is picked at random. They didn't say a male student. A student. So means it can be anybody. So the total that you put it over would be 200, right? Because a student is picked at random. So it's 50 over 200. All right, Orion, nice. So this would be, this 0 go with that 0, 5 ones 5, 5 into 24. So this is 1 over 4, which is A. So be careful with this question, right? This question, a simple change of this here would change the answer. Instead of a student, they could have said a male is picked at random. That could impact the answer significantly, yeah? So I have another one now. So I won't read this again, same instruction. So it says a male student is picked at random from the group. What is the probability that he does not walk to school on that day? So a male student is picked at random. So because it's a male student, what is the total that got to go at the bottom? Somebody tell me quick. Because it's a male student, what is the total that has to go at the bottom? Somebody tell me quick on TikTok. Let me big you up. At the bottom, right? At the bottom, at the bottom. All right, so K and G and Spider Girl, right? 108 because it's a male student. So 108 has to go at the bottom. So you want to know what's the probability that that male student does not walk to school. So if they don't walk, that means they took the bus or the taxi. So it's 50 plus 30, which is 80. So it's 80 over 108. We got to break this down. So we break this down. So 80 divided by 2 is 40. 108 divided by 2 is 50, 54. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 54 divided by 2 is let me see, 27. So it's 20 over 27. Can we break this down further? Nah, I don't think you can anything going to 20 and 27. So C. All right, so that's why we got to be careful, right? That's why we got to be careful with this question. Some people would run and go and see this table or say, oh, this question came before, and then they run and go and put an answer that they probably saw. All right, so read the questions carefully. Some of them do repeat, but slight change. All right, this is a giveaway. These couple that I'll show on the screen, these are giveaway marks. Which of the following graph represents a linear function? Linear function are giveaway marks. So we know we talk about a linear function. It's a straight line. C, D, and A are all functions, but because it's a linear function, it has to be a straight line, which is A. Now, for those of you that now trying to figure out what the function is, to identify whether a graph is a function or not, you do something that we call the horizontal line test. You draw a horizontal line straight up, and if it passes through just one point, and that means the graph is a function. You see, if you draw up here, it just passes through one point. All of those are functions. All right, all of those are functions. But here, if you draw up here, it passes through an infinite amount. So this is not a function. But they want a linear one. Linear means it's a straight line. So that's how we go with A as the answer. All right. So once again, another one. Which of the following represent the graph of a function? So they didn't talk about linear or anything. They just want to know which one represents the function. So let me zoom up. So we see one line here, one there, one there, one there. So indeed, this is a function. So we already know A is the answer. But let me go through the others as well. So for B, we see we got one thing here, we got another thing here, we got another thing here, here, here. If we draw up a vertical line straight up here, it passes through, let me do it deeper color, it passes through 2 points. So this can be a function because it passes through here and here. So this is out. And the same thing here, if I draw a vertical line, passes through more than 1 point here, here, and here. So this is out as well. And the same thing here as well. Draw up here, passes through here, here, and here. So this is out. So obviously A is the answer. Nice and easy. Cool, calm. Somebody says, so I'm going for the moderation line. I'm going back. Enjoy for me and you. Enjoy for me and you, BB, that's what I think of name. Enjoy. It's a big song now. When math's good, math's good. That's the song said. When math's good, math's good. Or whatever Alkaline said. So which of the following diagrams best illustrates a function? So for a function, it has to be, first of all, one element. Let me put this in layman term. One arrow should come from each element here. One arrow and one arrow alone. All right. So for example, we got this one arrow is coming from here, but in this one, we got two arrows. So that is not a function. And it has to come from all as well. So for this one, we see one arrow, but this one here is by duration, two arrows coming from it. So this is not a function. And in this one, no arrows coming from there, no arrows coming from here. Those two are by duration as well. So we got three coming from here, so not a function. Last but not least, one arrow, one arrow, one arrow. So ding, ding, ding. So D is the answer. All right, I like how YouTube now coming in, man. Big up yourself, YouTube. Don't allow TikTok to run away. Big up yourself. Komisha is back. Komisha, like you're prepared to go for the moderation. Anyways, so the point where the linear function crosses the vertical axis is the point where a linear function crosses the vertical axis. So we got x and y. So the vertical axis Vertical would be this line here, right? So the point where the linear function crosses that vertical axis would be, you know, the y-intercept, right? Which is simply A. Then we got a similar question, different year. The point where a linear function crosses the horizontal axis. So we got here, we got X, and we got Y. Horizontal axis would be this one here. So it can't be the y-intercept. It has to be the x-intercept, which is B. All right. Can't be these two, all right? Nice. So let's carry on. So in a box, there are, I did a video about this on TikTok. In a box, there are 8 red and 7 blue, 8 red, 7 blue, and 6 green marbles. One marble is picked randomly. What is the probability that it is neither green nor blue? So if it's neither green nor blue, it has to be red. So we know it will be 8 over, and the total number of marbles that we got in this bag, 8 and 7 is how much by 8 and 7 is 15. 15 and 6 will be 21. So 8 over 21. And this can't break down any further, so we'll just go with A. And this is a nice one as well. When 3 coins are tossed simultaneously, the possible outcomes are head, 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 tail, head, tail, head, head, tail, 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 head, head, tail, head, tail, 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 head, tail, tail, tail. Where H represents head and T represents tail. Sounded weird, eh? Anyways, so what's the probability of randomly obtaining at least 2 heads? At least means 2 and more, eh? So at least 2 heads. So you see in total we got how many how many outcomes? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options. So this here has to go over 8. So the probability of obtaining at least 2 heads. So let's see how many of these options got at least 2 heads. So at least means 2 and more. So we got one here, another one here, another one here, another one here. So 4 over 8. So 4 over 8, which will simply be, this will be 4 ones 4, 4 into 8, 2. So 1 over 2, which is simply nice and easy C. Item 40 to 41 before. So the following diagram, which shows the cumulative frequency curve based on the marks of 200 students who took a driving test. Somebody done comment the answer already? We're like, y'all memorize this whole paper, what? The whole question bank then y'all head. Anyways, so let's see. This one should be easy. So the median mark scored by the 200 students is so median mark, meaning we got to use the graph. So we got 200 students. So the middle of 200 would be the middle of 200 would be 100. So this would be like here. So this is 80. Let me see. This is 20, 60, 100. Some people would run and go and put 200, right? They would run and go and put 200 and then come on and say, sorry, the test was easy. Test was food. Well, that is wrong, eh? So anyway, so we use the 100 and we go across to the graph. And then we come down. So we see that looks like, so we got 30 here. So here will obviously be 35. So that looks like, it's definitely not 30, definitely not 40, definitely not 100. So we go with B, which is 37.5. 37.5 right here. That is it. That is it. So the highest mark scored in the test was, what's the highest mark scored? What's the highest mark scored? The giveaway. Highest mark scored would be, you know, so we go across here, 60. 60 is the highest. 60 is the highest, eh? So we go with 60. Of course, the test didn't go, it didn't reach till 200, didn't reach till 80. 50 is right here, and we see more people scored 50. So 60. So I just speed it up. Anyways, I just speed it up. Anyways, so 600 students write an examination. The probability of a randomly selected student failing the exam is 1/5. How many students are expected to pass? So the probability of somebody failing is 1/5, right? 1/5, and we got 600 people. Say this is the probability of selecting somebody that fail. Obviously, to select somebody that pass. You can find this answer many ways, eh? You can find 1/5 of 600 and then minus that from the 600. And that will give you the amount of people that pass. Let's do that. So 5 ones 5, 5 into 60 is how much money? 5 can go into 60 how many times? See, 5 can go into 30 6 times. So this is probably, so 120. So 120 students are expected to fail. So if 120 students are expected to fail, 600 minus 120 will obviously be 480. So 480 students are expected to pass. So if 1/5 of people on this live are expected to fail, who falling on the 4/5? If 1/5 of students on this live are expected to fail, who falling on the 4/5? Who falling on the 4/5? Let me see. Say yes. Say me. Let me see if you have an answer on probability. Somebody say not me? Oh my. Anyway, so let's go. Let's manifest it. Nice, nice. Manifested YouTube as well. So the equation of the line which passes through the point 0.05 and has a gradient of 4 is, so the gradient of the line that passes, so the equation, why there is a gradient? The equation of a line that passes through the point 0.05 and has a gradient of 4 is, so first of all, this is a nice and easy question. No need to do any big fancy work. So this is x, this is y. So if a line passes through 0.5, which would be like right here, that line passes through the y-axis, right? Which is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept would be 5. And if the gradient is 4, and we know the general form is y equal mx plus c, and we know m is 4, and the y-intercept is 5, this will simply be y is equal to 4x plus 5, right? No need to do any fancy work, which is simply c. So let's go. If h of x is equal to 3x minus 2 over 5, then h of 4 is equal to. So h of x is equal to 3x minus 2 all over 5. And you want to find h of 4. This is a giveaway. So we just substitute x for 4. So this will be 3 times x, sorry, 3 times 4, which is x minus 2 all over 5. 3 fours, 20. 20 minus 2 all divided by 5. 3 fours, 20. Wow. Oh my, wow. 3 fours, 20. Wow, 3 fours. Oh gosh, 3 fours, 20. Wow. Wow, oh, wow, 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 wow. Anyways, wow. The 3 4 is 12 minus 2. This will be 12 minus 2 is 10 over 5. So 10 divided by 5 is simply 2, which is C, eh? Oh boy, let me drink some water for that, boy. Anyways, so let's carry on. So find the value of f inverse of 1 if the function f is given as f of x is equal to 5 minus 2x. So let me write that back. F of x is equal to 5 minus 2x. So they want us to find f inverse of 1. So we first got to find the inverse function. Find f inverse of x, and then we substitute 1 into that function, and we get an answer. Some people would randomly just, some people would while up and go and put in the 1 in this function. They'll put in 1 in this function, and they'll get 5 minus 2 times 1 is 2, and they get 3, and then they go and circle off 3 on the answer sheet. And then they come out and say, hey, the exam was food, by. Exam was food, and this was the food that they ate, right? Which is absolutely wrong. So we got to find the inverse function. So we know we make y, we change f of x to y. So y is equal to 5 minus 2x. And then we interchange the x and the y. So you have x is equal to 5 minus 2y. And then we make y the subject. Right? So to make y the subject, we take over this 5. It's adding. So you take it over with minus. So we'll have x minus 5 is equal to negative 2y. And then we take over the negative 2. It's multiplying. Take it over, it will divide. So we'll have x minus 5 all divided by negative 2 is equal to y. Since we have f inverse of x is equal to x minus 5 all over negative 2. And then we got to find f inverse of 1. So f inverse of 1 is equal to, instead of x, we'll have 1 minus 5 all over negative 2. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4 over negative 2, which is 2 negatives will cancel out. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the answer is B. All right, so we got to be careful. Yes. Good. So let's carry on. So item 55 before, so the following diagram of an isosceles triangle. Isosceles means the two base angles are equal and also the two sides are equal. So let's see what they want. In the triangle, the value of x is wow. Wow, this was so easy, eh? So I got some variation for this question at the bottom. So this is probably the easiest this question can come. So we know x is simply equal to 180 minus 30 plus 30. So 180 minus 60 is simply 120. So x is equal to 120, which is C, right? Even it Luala, this is 120. Take a 120 and 30 will give me 180. This was too easy, eh? This was a giveaway. If you don't understand, if you got this one wrong, if you don't understand this one, then ooh, all right. Tight, tight, tight. Tough. Anyways, variation, another similar question. In the triangle, the value of x is, so they talk about it's an isosceles again, and they want the value of x. In this case, they did not give us all of the sides, but they told us it's an isosceles. So we know because it's an isosceles, if here is 30, here is also 30. We know 30 and 30 is 60, and 180 minus 60 will simply be 120 again, which is C. Similar question, but just that they left out, this side here. Right? But we know it's an isosceles, so the two sides would be the same. So let's see. So item 58 refers to the following pair of similar triangles. So we know for similar triangles, all of the angles will be the same. Right? Just that one triangle will increase in size by a ratio or something. All right. So let's be careful with this one here, right? Let's be very careful with this one. If the area of triangle ABC is 120, if the triangle is ABC is 120, what is the area of MNO? So let's be careful with this one. Careful. Like this one here, I had a big debate. Not really a debate, a little misconception among some maths people. So let's see. The area of ABC is 20. So let's play this one carefully. So let's see, area is equal to half base times height. So they told us the area is 20. So we see this is 20 is equal to half times the base, which is 6, times the height. So let's find the height, and then we can use that to get the height for this one here, right? So half of 6 is 3. So 3 times h would be 3h is equal to 20. So hence h would be equal to 20 over 3. So this side is 20 over 3. So because this side is 20 over 3, and we see this side is 6, and this side this side is 3. So we see this here is dividing by 2 to get this side. So if this side is 20 over 3, if we divide that side by 2, we'll get the height for this one. So we see 20 over 3. If we divide this by 2, this will be the same as multiplying it by half. This will give us 20 over 6. So this side is 20 over 6. So let's use that to find let's use that to find the area of the other side, the other triangle. All right, so area is equal to half base times height. So it's half times the base, which is 3, times the height, which is 20 over 6. So let's multiply everything at the top. So this would be 1 times 3 is 3, 3 times 20 is 60 over 2 times 6 is 12. 12 divided by 60 is what by? 12 divided by 6 is 5. 12, 5, 60. Yeah, man. So 5. So the answer here is 5. C. So we got to be careful, right? This one is a bit harder than it looks. Some people would think, the common misconception is that some people say, all right, bye. So if this is 6 and this is 3, and the area is 20, so that means we just gotta half, we gotta half the area, and the area will be 20, right? So no, we gotta be careful. An easy way to do all of this, if this is 6 and this is 3, so we half the area one time. So this is 20, we half 20, that will give me 10. And then also I half the height as well. So that means I gotta halve the answer again. So 10 divided by 2 is also 5. So this is another way to find the answer rather than going through all of this. All right, you just half it twice to get the answer. All right, because we have two things in the answer. So that means we have to have the answer twice. All right, I hope that makes sense. So the answer here is 5. We can do all of this, or we can just have the answer twice to get the answer. Wherever floats your boat. Eh? Different question, but very similar. We have similar triangles again. The length MO in CM is, so MO would be this side right here. So we see this side is 6, this side is 3. So that means the sides are half. So if this is 7, MO could simply be half of 7, which is simply 3.5. All right. So item 55 refers to the following transversal. Why did I say transverse? Anyways, refers to the following transversal diagram in which the lines AB and CD are parallel. Read in the comments. Come on, y'all don't I'm sure if y'all arguing. I saw I saw a comment with a lot of question marks. I hope y'all aren't arguing, right? No arguing, please. Please, let's all live in love and harmony. So which of the following best describes the relationship between X and Y? So we have a nice Z being formed here because we have two parallel lines, bop, bop, and a transversal, and a beautiful Z is formed. So we see X and Y should be equal to each other. So this is not the answer. You know, beautiful B is the answer. All right, this too fancy, this little too fancy. B, nothing too big and fancy here. All right, very similar question, but different letters. Oh, let me see if this is actually a similar question. So we got a Z, yeah. So which are the following best describes the relationship between P and Q? So we say P and Q are equal, so we just go with A again. So I say this is, no, this is not CXC, this is UG. UG Mathematics. Final year UG Mathematics. All right, just joking. It's CSEC, right? It's CXC. CSEC actually, not CXC. CSEC. All right. So item 6 refers to the following diagram not drawn to scale, which shows the angle of depression and of a point X from Z is 30 degrees. If X is 10 meters from Y, the height of YZ in meters is YZ is here. So let me see. We're dealing with angles of elevation and depression. So if here is 30, here will also be 30, because deal with angles of depression. Anyways, or if you want to look at that, if here is 30, here is also 60. Right? So that's why we got 60 and 30 as some of the options. Anyway, so they want us to find YZ. YZ is here. So let's use the 30 for now. So YZ would be the opposite. And the side that we're given would be the adjacent. Right? So let's see which one of the ratios we can use. So some old horses can always hear their owner's approach. So let's see, we want to find the opposite and we are given the adjacent. So which one has that? The opposite and the adjacent. Opposite and adjacent, tan. So let's see if tan can work. So tan 30 is equal to the opposite, which is YZ, over the adjacent, which is 10. So yz is equal to, so this 10 here is dividing, take it over, multiplies. We'll have 10 multiplied by tan 30 is equal to yz. So the answer here is A. Hey, some persons would ask what do questions in chat. So I don't like being sarcastic, right? I don't like it. I feel it's kind of rude at times, right? But sometimes some of the questions, it would lend itself to a sarcastic response. So I apologize in advance. I sometimes I fight the urge. I fight the urge to do it. I fight it a lot, right? But I mean, some of your questions, yeah, man, it's just like, it's just there. Wait, asking me to do a sarcastic response, right? I apologize. So I'll try my best not to do any more sarcastic response for the next 20 seconds. All right, for the next 20 seconds, I won't do any sarcastic response. So item 59 refers to the following diagram, which shows that the angle of depression of a point X from Z is 35 degrees if Y is 12 meters from Z. Then the base XY in meters is, so let me see. So we see if this angle is 35, we can say here is 35. So what they want XY, right? XY, which is here. So let me see. If this is 35, let's deal with that for now. Let's deal with the 35. So we see this 12 here would be the opposite. And the thing that we want to find would be the adjacent. So let me see. Some old horses can always hear their owners approach. By the way, this will be given to you in the exam. But I've learned this mnemonic. Studying mathematics, I tend to rely on this rather than looking at the formula. So let me see. The opposite and the adjacent, that deals with the tan again. Yeah. So let's say tan theta is 35 is equal to the opposite, which is 12 over the adjacent, which is xy. So nah, I don't think it's this one we're dealing with. I don't think this is the one we got to deal with. So instead of the 35, we got to, because none of the answers got tan as the numerator, as the denominator. So let's work with, instead of the 35, since here is 35, I know this is a right angle. So I know this angle here would be 35 minus 90, which is 55. All right. So let's deal with that angle as the reference angle. Since that is the reference angle now, I know the side opposite that here would be the opposite. And this side now will turn into the adjacent. So we're still dealing with the opposite and the adjacent. So we're still dealing with tan. So we'll have tan theta, which is 55 in this case, is equal to the opposite, which is xy, over the adjacent, which is 12. All right, so to find xy, we just take over the 12. So the 12 will multiply the tan 55, so we'll have 12 tan 55 is equal to xy. So D is the answer there. So you see, at times, you can have, depending on the reference angle, that will determine that'll determine what is the opposite and what is the adjacent. The hypotenuse will always be the hypotenuse, but depends on which angle that you're talking about. Because we're talking about this angle, the side opposite that will be the opposite. So sometimes, you see in this question, we use this angle, but in this one, we have to use the other one, which is here. All right, we use the fact that this is a 90-degree to get the 55. So just be careful. YouTube, I ain't like how you're quiet, or is it that my thing and loading? YouTube, y'all, make some noise, YouTube. People on TikTok making a lot of new noise. All right, let's see a different one now. So this one should be, you see this one here? It looks exactly like the ones that we did at the top, right? So let's see if it's the same thing or it's slightly different. So the angle of the depression of the point X from Z is 35. If X is 12 meters from Y, then the height YZ is, so YZ, which is here. So let's see. So you see this, you see how this thing looks very similar to the two things that we did above, but it's slightly different. That is why you got to be careful when you say the questions repeat, right? You want to read them carefully and work it out. All right, so let's work this out again. So let's try here, start 5. Since we're dealing with Z angles, here sort of 5, there will be 35. So let me see. Thing that we want to find would be the opposite. And then this is the adjacent. So let's see. Some old horses can always hear their owners approach. So we know we're dealing with tan. So let's see. Tan 35 is equal to the opposite, which is YZ over the adjacent, which is 12. So YZ, we carry over this 12, it will multiply the tan to the 5. So this is 12 tan to the 5 is equal to YZ, which is 12 tan to the 5, which is B. So let me see the answers above if we got 12 tan to the 5. Actually, no, we got 10 tan 30. And this one was 12 tan 55, right? So that's why it's important to learn how to work these things rather than just cramming the answer. All right, so I got another one, a very similar one as well. A them question we are gonna get on the paper one. Item 59 refers to the following diagram, which shows the angle of depression of a point G from E is 30 degrees. If F is 25 meters from E, then the distance FG in meters is FG. FG is here. So let me see, here is 30. So we know here will also be 30. So let's see, let's try that. So 30. So we want to find FG, which is the bottom here. So we know since we're using this angle as a reference angle, the 50, 29, the 25 will be the opposite. And the side that we want to find will be the adjacent. So we know we're dealing with tan again. So tan can always hear their owner's approach. Their owner's approach. So tan theta, this 30 is equal to the opposite, which is what we want to find. No, opposite is 25. And the thing that we want to find is FG. So I see you got some answers as with some decimals. So we'll work this out. So we carry over the FG, it will have FG multiplied by tan 30 is equal to 25. So FG will therefore be equal to, we carry over the tan 30, it's multiplied and carried over, it will divide. So FG is equal to 25 divided by tan 30. The 25 divided by tan 30 is A. How are we looking? How are we looking? How are we looking? Y'all hear me clear? YouTube, TikTok? Everybody hear me clear? He said, my net is very fast, man. I don't think so. My net is very fast. I don't think it's, and I don't. Y'all hear me clear, TikTok? YouTube, y'all hear me clear? Nah, man, can't be my net. Oh, YouTube is hearing me clear. So what's going on TikTok? Uh, uh, anyway, so YouTube. So YouTube is hearing me clear. So we can wire on YouTube. Yeah, I go to YouTube. Anyway, so let's roll. YouTube hearing clear, man. I don't know. I'll try with TikTok. Anyway, so let's go. I don't know what's going on with TikTok. Anyways, so item 58 refers to the following diagram. OAA. Anyway, so yeah, YouTube. Um, OAA, OB, OA, A prime, OB, B prime, OCC prime are straight lines. Ang triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime by an enlargement with center O. What is the scale factor of the enlargement? So we see this is the image and this is the object. So we see obviously the object became bigger. Well, the image became bigger, right? So to get the scale factor, we just take any side, any corresponding side. So let's choose this side CB. So we see the measurement for CB is 1, 2. So this will be 2 over, and we choose the corresponding side for CB for the object. So this is 1. So it's 2 over 1, which is simply equal to 2. So the scale factor is simply 2. All right, scale factor is 2. Anyways, item 58 refers to the following diagram, which shows an enlargement. In the diagram, triangle ABC is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Where O is the center of enlargement. What is the scale factor of the enlargement? Similar thing, same thing. So we choose any corresponding side. Let's choose this vertical side AB. So we see this side A prime, C prime. This side is 4 because it starts at 0, go to 4. So that is 4 over, and we see the object AC is 2. So this is 4 divided by 2, which is simply 2 as well. So this is D. All right, hold on, YouTube. Let me go back live on TikTok and see what's going on. All right, I see the TikTok people coming over now. All right, so this one, item 53. Item 53 for us, so the following diagram, which shows a translation. So got a translation going on here. In the diagram, the translation by which AB is mapped onto A prime, B prime is represented by. So we got A, we can just choose any corresponding point. So we got A, the point A, which is 2, 5, and the point A prime is 4, 6. So to move from A to A prime, we see to move from 2 to 4, we go across 2 times, and then we go up 1 time to move from 5 to 6. So this will be 2, 1. This is the translation that maps A onto A prime. So 2, 1, this will be B as the answer. All right, nice and easy. TikTok, we hearing me clear now? TikTok, y'all hearing clear now? Anyways, okay. So item 54 refers to the following diagram of a circle. So it's not that my internet is slow, right? It's TikTok. Right? I'm live on YouTube and it's going perfectly fine there. So yeah, I'll blame I have very fast internet. Don't embarrass me like that, man. Don't do me that at all. All right, don't do that. I don't do that, man. Don't do that. So if O is the center of the circle, and if O is the center of the circle, and y, well, y is equal to y degrees is equal to. So we see this is the center and says the angle of the center is twice the angle of the circumference. So this is a giveaway mark. So if here is 50, then the angle of the center will be twice that, which is simply 100. All right, giveaway mark there. Right, the people on YouTube said they hear loud and clear. Um, all right, so a ship sailed 8 km due east from A to B. It then sailed 6 km due north to C. Which of the following diagrams best represents the path of the ship? So we see we sailed 6 km due north. So 6 km due north. So you know for north is north to go up, eh? So 6 km due north. Oh, I'm reading wrong. Wow, wow. So it sailed 8 km due east. So this is north. 8 km due east, north. This is east, so 8 km there. It then sailed 6 km due north. And then 6 km due north. So let's see which one represents that. So 8 km due east, and then 6 km due north. So let me see, just make sure the measurements are there. So 8 km due east, A to B, and then it sailed 6 km due to C. So we'll take C as the answer. So careful, careful, careful. The person that's spamming, careful. Careful with the answer, not with the spammer, right? But careful with the answer. All right, so let's go. Item 6 refers to the following rectangle triangle, which trigonometric ratio is equal to 4/8. So you got this one here, they got x as a reference angle and also y as a reference angle. So let's see. So we know the ratio. Some old horses can always hear their owners approach. See some people dropping the answer. I guess I already remember this one. Um, so 4/8. So let me see. So let's use x to start off with x. So if we're using x as the reference angle, this will be the opposite, and this will be the hypotenuse. Well, this will always be the hypotenuse, regardless, right? Because that is opposite the right angle triangle, opposite the right angle. So let's see which one has that. So let's see, sine x is equal to the opposite, which is 4 over the hypotenuse, which is 8. So yeah, sine, nice and easy. A, right? Nice and easy. So if you're a person that normally practices lots of paper one, you should know that from the time you see this question, you know this is at the end of the paper. CXE loves this question. This question here is a favorite, right? And it's a giveaway mark as well, right? Nice and easy mark, man. Beautiful mark. Anyway, so a surveyor sets up his instrument 12 meters from the foot of the building and records the angle of elevation of the top of the building. So we got a surveyor here, and the man observing the angle of elevation, and his line is straight in front of him here. So an estimate of the height of the building can be obtained by calculating. So we see we can find for this piece here, and then whatever answer we get, we add it to 1.6. So we see only two viable options here would be A and B, right? Because in these here, they minus. So let's work it out though. So we know here is 12. And the thing that we want to find, since we're using 40, this would be the opposite. And the 12 would be the adjacent. So let's see which one of the ratios got opposite and adjacent. So some old horses can always hear their owners approach. So opposite and adjacent, we see the tan ratio has the opposite and adjacent. So we can say tan theta is 40. So tan 40 is equal to the opposite, which is what we want to find, over the adjacent, which is 12. So we can say the thing that we want to find, which is the opposite, is equal to this 12 is divided, take it over, multiply. So we'll have 12 times tan 40. All right. And that will give us this height here. Then, of course, to get the height of the building, we got to add the height of the man, which is 1.6. So this answer here is simply A. We add the 1.6 to that. Nice. So this one here now says item 56 refers to the following diagram, which shows a transformation. So the transformation, so we got the object and the image. So the transformation which will map triangle PQR onto P prime, Q prime, R prime is, which are we looking at? So we got the rotation of 180 about the origin. So yeah, that looks like it's easy. So from R, we draw to the origin, and then if we rotate 180 degrees, we'll end up coming here. And the same thing for Q, if we go to the origin and we rotate 180 degrees, we'll end up reaching at Q again. And same thing for P. If we draw here and we rotate 180 degrees, we'll come here. So yeah, nice and easy. A rotation of 180 degrees about the origin. Cool, calm, and collected. So item 57 refers to the following diagram of two straight lines. In the diagram above, the line CD is the image of AB after. So CD is the image of this here. After, what happens? A rotation of 90 degrees. Nah, man. Nah, that ain't look like a rotation. A reflection in the y-axis. So yeah, that looks viable. So we got the y-axis right here. Yeah. So we got A here, and C is a reflection of that. B here, this look like equal distance from D. So yeah, this is a reflection over the y-axis. Definitely not a translation using a translation vector, -4, -8. So let me see. -4, -8. So we go across -4 times. So we jump, and then we go down 8 times. Bop, bop, nah. So that can't work. Reflection over the x-axis, that is reflection over this axis at the bottom here. So this image will come somewhere at the bottom if that was happen. If that were to happen. So nah, and nah, and nah. All right, so B is the answer. A beautiful question. Item 57 refers to the following diagram, which shows the graph of the line y equal x. If the line y equal x is rotated anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise, you know, the clock will normally go in that direction. So anti-clockwise means it will go in the opposite direction. 90 degrees through O. So if this is the line, if you rotate it 90 degrees, 90 degrees it will come somewhere like here. All right. So they want to know its image is. So can be x equal y. That is the same thing as y equal x. It can be x equals 0. X equals 0 would be this line here. It can be y equals 0. That would be this line. So obviously the only viable option by method of elimination and also knowing our lines, A, right? Y equal -x. All right. Method of elimination if you don't know to identify the line, and also, if you know that line, that is the line y equal -x. All right, if triangle ABC, angle A is equal to x, angle B is equal to 2x, what is the size of angle C? So by looking at this, I can already know the answers. I already know it's D, but let's work. So in the triangle, we know everything is equal to 180. So the two angles have to subtract this here. So this will be 180, subtract the size of angle A, which is x, plus the size of angle B, which is 2x. So x plus 2x would be 3x, so 180 minus 3x. That would give me the size of the remaining angle. So D is the answer. Nice and easy. All right, in each of the following diagrams, A prime is the image of A. Which of the following shows a reflection in the x-axis? Reflection in the x-axis. So nah, this is not showing reflection in the x-axis. This is not showing the reflection in the x-axis, it's reflection in the y-axis. Nah, this is not showing, this is probably showing a rotation or something. And obviously we see this is the x-axis, and this is looking like a reflection in the x-axis, which is D. So D is the answer there. All right, and I don't have anything else in this booklet to continue. So I did all the questions, all of the popular questions. So when I come back live, I'll put together some more questions, paper one questions, probably some of the more challenging ones, and we'll work. All right, so I'll come back live again another time. So those of you that joined all 3 lives, I think you've covered a lot of questions, right? I approximately, I would say about 200 to 300 questions if you've joined the lives from day one. All right, so those of you that did not join from day one, I did that. They're on YouTube. Let's go on YouTube and you can watch them and browse through them. All right. Anyways, so YouTube, I'm ending you. I don't want to keep the YouTube video going too long. So YouTube, if you want, the conversation will continue over on TikTok.